Why is it sometimes a book becomes a film and becomes a really good film, and other times a book becomes a film and it's a really bad film? What happens? Because some books have been bad, have been made into good films. Let's, for example, start off with a very interesting example, Casino Royale. The first Casino Royale was actually a made-for-TV episode starring Jimmy Bond, which is also the first portrayal of James Bond anywhere. The second attempt was a movie with Woody Allen, which was a comedy. The less said about this one, the better. Then we had the final and serious attempt at Casino Royale. Now, this turned out to be a hit. It really brought back James Bond, especially the book version. And that's very interesting because the book isn't really very good. This is the first of the Bond series, and usually the first book of any writer is going to be somewhat weak, but this one's particularly bad. I'm not a lit major, but, and it's hard to explain, but the fact is it feels less like 3 acts of a story and more like one kind of elongated, weak act followed by a really bad act. It's the settings, the casino, then the romance with the girl who turns out to betray him and stuff like that. Now, the amazing thing about that is that, and let's face it, James Bond books aren't the best books to begin with. This is not Shakespeare. They took the worst book of the series and made a pretty strong movie. I think what they did was basically they treated it like a meal. They looked at the ingredients, decided which ingredients has ever gone bad, replaced it, substituted it, and made a really good meal. The book is not that good. The movie, at least the last one, was spectacular. It was great. Yet the Woody Allen one wasn't really very good. I think they just took the title. And the one for TV, well, I don't know. I've never seen it. But this is not a very good book, and yet they made a really fantastic movie out of it. So let's move on to another example. Let's move on to Dune. There was, of course, the first version of Dune, which was the made for a big screen movie, with Queen doing the music, by the way. Cool. Then there was the Sci-Fi Channel version of Dune. I believe they made a series based on the third book, Children of Dune. Now, I saw the movie before I actually read any of the books, and I think the movie actually did a good job by itself. Even if you hadn't read the books, the movie was okay. If you had read the books, the movie does seem a little cramped. It's just not going to be able to unfold all the politics and intrigue and behind the scenes events and under the surface and wheels within wheels within wheels that the book or books have in them. The Sci-Fi Channel did actually make it into a miniseries. So they did, and let's focus on the first book, not both miniseries, but they did have a lot more to go with to give you all that politics, all the interaction. I'm not sure I could say one is better than the other, though. While Dune, the movie, was cramped, kind of, it did have wonderful settings, beautiful costumes. And while the Sci-Fi Channel version was able to spread it out and give you the whole story, some things were off. They had a scene where, Paul was talking to the crowd, and he was on a balcony, and water starts pouring out. And it's like, what? Are they pouring water out? This is a desert planet. Is he a god creating water? He's not a god in the book. He's a product of eugenics over, centuries. So you kind of get an idea. Did the Sci-Fi Channel understand it? Did they understand the underlying meanings under the surface of the book? Also, I kind of question, they had beautiful settings, beautiful costumes, but I kind of question decisions every once in a while that they made. I mean, really, what is that? They look like milkmaids. Could somebody out there make another Dune movie or miniseries? Probably. I don't think they could do better, though. I think both of those are really great accomplishments. Are they perfect? No, but is any movie perfect, or especially when it's adapted from a book? No. And Dune's a really good book. So any attempt to adapt it, you need to do a really good job. Just like with Lord of the Rings or 1984, a few books I can name that when they made movies out of, some were pretty well, and 1984 there's a few bad ones. Now for an example of a bad movie to film. Not that the book's bad. Battlefield Earth. Now, before I get a lot of screaming, let me point out I read this as a young adult, and I enjoyed it. And I'm probably going to reread it in the future. Probably won't enjoy it as much. I've changed, not the book. It's science fiction slash probably space opera slash fantasy. The science is not really that hard, but a lot of sci-fi authors do like it. It does have a story, characters, action. The aliens, while not really possible, at least seem a little realistic. I mean, we have a really thick book. It gives him a lot of time to build up everything and make it seem realistic or believable anyway. And then, as you know, they made it into a movie. That's right, they made it into Battlefield. No, that's not right. Let's try again, shall we? They made it into Battlefield. No, that's not right either, guys. You know there is nothing like that in the movie. That looks actually good. Come on, let's try again. They made it into Battlefield Earth the musical? No, come on, guys. Let's try again. I don't even know where you got this one, okay? Can we get it right, please? There you go. Battlefield Earth. 2 hours of a really bad movie, which I've actually just seen before this review. Before I talk about the movie, let me say a few things in its defense. One, it was only meant to be one of two movies. The first part of the book deals with us defeating the aliens. The second part deals with the aftermath. This was supposed to be a 2-movie setup. The sequel was never made, obviously, because the first movie didn't do that well. Second, there was pre, during, and post-production problems. A lot of problems. I think there's like 10 people who worked on the script. There's money issues. It was delayed a lot. Barring that, there's a lot of problems with this movie. Not just plot holes. Problems. The first scene, the girlfriend of the lead, the hero, is waiting outside this wooden barricade for the hero to show up. And they're saying, look, we got to close this. It's nightfall, so on and so forth. They close it. The hero shows up on a horse, rides right into the compound. The barricade didn't stop him whatsoever. He came from a different direction. Yet, when the girlfriend goes to try to find him, she has to break out through the barricade. There is really a lot of things I could talk about this. Harrier jets that work after 1,000 years. Paper books that are still existing after 1,000 years. Buildings that are still around after 1,000 years. No. There's some scenes I like. Okay, I'm a dystopia kind of guy. I like the idea that they'd put humans in a zoo. That's kind of funny. And the food they're giving them looked like green oatmeal. Reminded me of a Stargate episode. But it was bad. Is this the worst film ever made? No. But it's actually a film I kind of wish I hadn't seen. Like I said, there's some parts I found interesting, but you know, there's all the camera scenes. They're all tilted. And there was overreacting, and the aliens are just bad. They should have gone with Muppets or something, I don't know. I mean, even the fight scenes between the Harrier jets and the alien aircraft, they're fighting over their own base. They know that the atmosphere keeps them alive under the dome, and they're fighting, they're dogfighting over the dome. And they're shooting at things over it just doesn't make any sense. These are the stupidest aliens I have ever seen. And they weren't that smart in the book, but there's a reason. I mean, the book built up things, made things a little believable, not too believable. But this movie, you're like, no. No. I mean, in Dune, the movie, there's some overacting, but those guys are politicians. This one, there's overacting. I don't know why. Okay, guys, I don't waste any more of your time. That's just my discussion of books to films. The conclusion with Battlefield Earth is it didn't have to be like that. Whether it was based on a book or not, it could have been a better movie if they had some sort of vision, some sort of focus. And maybe if it had been based on a book, they might not have had to force those ideas in there. They might have been able to do something that was fresh and actually believable. I don't know. Have a good day.